Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFLW Fantasy Fanatics round review. We're recording live on Sunday, the 6th of October, after the completion of round 6. I'm your host, Bails, and you can find me at Bails DT across the socials. And if you are joining us live on YouTube, put your questions in or players you'd like discussed, and we'll get to answering those towards the end of the show. Or if you're listening back onto replay, how about joining us? No, not join us, because I think this will be the last live round review we'll do, because we've only got one more double game week to go. So actually, scratch that. Make sure you join us live on the pre-lockout chats on the Fridays, is probably what I should say. So, but other than saying that, joining me as always is my fellow co-host and AFLW Fantasy Fanatic and victorious in the Content Creators Cup over myself this week. It is Jaiden Poposky. Jaiden, mate, I'm sure it was a good weekend for you, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, hey, Bails. Pretty good. Yeah, it was nice to get the win. I think on paper I should have won, so I'm glad I got there in the end. Noffy made sure to make it close, but happy with that. Moved up, so yeah, overall good weekend.
Beautiful. Well, so we'll go straight into that. So how did you score this week, and what is your current overall rank?
I scored 1793, so that took me from 360th up to 321. Okay with that. I would have liked to go up a bit more, because I do think I had a few more on this round than most people did. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, I was just banking on the fact that Noffy would just have 1 week where she doesn't score 170. And to still go up without her when that happens, like, shows how much I would have gone up if she just scored, let's just say 100. So it's disappointing that it didn't work out in that way, but I went up overall. So it's more of just a case of, like, I did the right thing and she just continues to dominate. So I was close, almost.
Yeah. How many doubles do you have this week?
I had 5, I think, but they were pretty good quality ones.
Who were the 5?
Three in the midfield. So I had Rowbottom captain, Gardner, Maddie Prasparkas, Friswell, and Emma O'Driscoll.
Yep. Yeah, cool.
So beautiful. No rookies or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have the rookie that I had that was on that double that didn't score too great. But I scored the 1760, so that put me down, 44 spots down to 401st. I was 395th, and then late updates clearly put me down 6 spots, which is frustrating. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that week. I only had 4 doubles, that being Rowbottom captain, Laura Garden, and Ella Heads. And then it was also Giselle Davis, which was barely a double, because she only scored the 55 points from the 2 games, including a bad effort today. So I'll take it. The fact that I had a light week. I always knew this was my weaker round of the doubles, in anticipation for having a pretty good one, hopefully next week. And it's sort of getting into the same territory as like in the men's, when it had 6, 7, 8 rounds to go. I was ranked around this area, and I thought, well, this has got to be the week that I make that move. And I have a feeling this week coming up is a big week for my own team. If I'm to make top 100, I need to get a bit of a move on this week, and hopefully can get top 100. But we will see how we go. I'll probably fall short like normal, but we'll see. In terms of, actually, no, before we do, we'll go into a plus and minus 3. So, Jane, mate, do you want to kick us off with your plus and minus 3?
Yeah, I'll give the plus 3 to the Richmond girls. Were very good to me this week. Mon Conti in particular, 110. Thought that was quite good, because I know a lot of people traded. I think she's probably 8th or 9th most traded out. So like 500, 600 teams did that. But yeah, in the Collingwood matchup, I thought, yeah, this will be great. I did trade Riddell instead, because she was more expensive and I couldn't afford what I wanted without it. But yeah, so it was nice that Conti delivered, considering a lot of people traded. And Sheeran, 91, that was amazing as well. The negative 3, I'll give, it's unfortunate again, but it's Huntington. She's averaging like 39 in my team over the last 4 weeks. So hopefully in the double she can like do a bit of something. It's just a bit of a annoying one, but this is kind of what happens at F5 and wherever this happens to people, like Friswell did as well. She was on 72 after 1 game, only 33 in the second game. Like, I don't want to keep using trades in this forward line, so it's just stuff to, I guess, kind of wear a bit because, it would have been nice to get more, but it's better than like paying up for someone, I guess. And like if you paid up for Tripodi now, she's 900k and only scored 35 as well. So that's what comes with it.
Yeah, exactly right. So my +3 and -3, it's funny because I love giving it to her, but also don't because I want to be able to shout out some other players. But it's got to go to Ebony Marinoff. It's a bit hard to not give it to someone that scores 172 for one game. And to put into context as well, like she only scored 33 points less than Rowbottom and Gardner, who played twice, which is it's incredible. She's averaging 148 points from her 6 games this year. She's gone over 130 in every game bar one, which was a 121 in round 1. So 121 is still pretty good when you look at it. And and she's got a double this week. So we haven't actually seen, I don't think we've seen a player yet go over 250 points combined. I think Riddell last week went 244 points, if I'm not mistaken, with the 2 games. So if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Marinoff. So, we'll talk about it after. But yeah, that's a few things you've noticed with the doubles is that players will have one big game and then one quieter game. We saw it with Rowbottom and Gardner, particularly in their games from today. So, so Marinoff will get my +3. -3, to be honest, most of my team did their job, considering that I didn't have too many doubles. Everyone on the singles, I only had the 2 players score below 58 in my entire team, that being Giselle Davis, who played twice, but I didn't really expect her to go like 100 plus, even though I was hopeful. I think I will give my -3, though, to Ruby Tripodi. It is a bit harsh because she's been really good. And I do put this down to a bit of a poorer game here, just the 57% TOG for her. Obviously, she's been playing in the 60s the last few weeks, but we'll chat about her after. I don't know if she's a trade out. A few people might consider it, especially to like a Chelsea Randall or someone like that this week, which we'll touch on. But yeah, she'll probably get it for me. But a bit of a tougher week to give the -3 this week. But moving over to the AFLW Fantasy Content Creators Cup, a lot of close matchups this week, a lot of close ones. So obviously I went down and Jaiden, you got the job done by 33 points, getting the chocolates there, which means I believe that you will move to the top of the tree on the ladder. So congrats to that, mate. You've taken that from me, which I'm salty about. But hey, let's see if we can get it back. But good, obviously great for you. JS 1696 went down to Jono 1779 there. Mitch got the job just done over Will, 1674 to 1671. So 3-point win there for Mitch. Eloise up against Liam. And again, that was another tight one. And Liam getting the job done by 16 points, 1848 to 1832. And I think we might be hearing about Ariana Hetherington on the free kick pod, because she had herself a double game week. She was the pick over Giselle Davis. If I'd gone there, geez, that would have been very, very good. I wish I did. And then Mel getting the job done over Jackson as well, 1788 to 1754. So a lot of close games with just the JS and Jono one being, well, every game was below 100 points. That's pretty good to see. A lot of the content creators close by. So as I said, Jaiden is now on top of ladder, 5 wins and 1 loss. I'm second. I'm 4. Hang on. Ladder's all messed up. But all I know is Jaiden's top. I'm still second. And there's a heap of people sort of close together. So we'll be able to update the ladder. I'll put out a tweet later on in the week as well. And just looking at the rankings here as well. So we do have Kiwi 5, so Brett's team is currently leading by 124 points. So he's got a decent gap there as well. But in terms of the top 100, if people want to know what score, because we're getting the crunch time of the year, so we want to know what 100th place is scored to see how far away we are. So Luke's team, King Kong, something I can't quite see the whole team name there is on, and it's gone now for me. Here we go, is on 9348. So that is the score you need to be in the top 100. So I am about 197 points behind. So as I said, need a big week here to catch that back up. Jade, do you know how far away you are from the top 100?
166. Doable, but yeah, would have liked a bit more because, I don't have Noff, so I'm going to have to move heaven and earth to get her in, and I won't be able to do much else, really.
Yeah, exactly. Probably 2 downgrades, to try and get Marinoff in. And yeah, as I said, hopefully this week I've got a few more. I'm hoping that people above me have had more doubles throughout the weeks and I can catch up. But we will see how we go. But we'll quickly whiz through the games like we've been doing the last few weeks and going through a player that we were impressed with and who we weren't. So we'll start all the way back on Tuesday, and this will be the second to last time I have to do that all the way back on Tuesday because one more double game to go. But with Freo getting the job done over Geelong by 18 points there. So I'll start, Jaiden. You can go for this game. Who were you impressed with and who weren't you impressed with for this game?
Personally, Friswell was pretty good. But yeah, Mimstrom really set up the double week. Like it is an easy matchup against Geelong. But yeah, she was the highest scorer for this week, and this is where she really set it up. If you had the VC, you would have used it on her. So yeah, you would have taken that. Well. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, really impressive performance. 42 hitouts. Does it all.
Mm-hmm. Who weren't you impressed with from this game?
I'm pretty lucky that I didn't do it, thanks to Liam jumping on. But Bright O'Rourke, that would have been pretty disappointing for owners. Bringing her in, she'll be basement now, even though she's like 330k as a fresh rookie, injured, only 20% of the game played, finished on 9. So that's who I was going until Liam fortunately jumped on our live stream, and I ended up with Chloe Adams instead, who almost got to 100 over her 2 games. So yeah, if you went for her, I know she was pretty popular trade-in. So that's a bit unfortunate with the injury.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, the thing is, obviously, we were talking about Hetherington before. If it wasn't for bloody Kakoak being in the side, I probably would have gone there instead of Giselle Davis, just because of with Freo stoppages, second ruck behind Mimstrom. But with the 3, I was like, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, fantastic for whoever picked Ariana Hetherington this week. Moving over to Hawthorn and Gold Coast. And obviously, I think the standout one here that we're impressed with is Charlie Rowbottom, 126, only player in this game to go over 100 points. Started really slowly. I was a bit worried. Gave away a fair few free kicks late, in the first quarter and throughout the game. And it was all from tackles as well. She'd tackled someone and it looked like be holding the ball. Then she'd hang on too long and then it'd be a free again. So what's that, like 11-point turnaround? Obviously, you don't get the kick, you don't get the tackle, you don't get the 0.4, and then you get a -3 instead, which is really frustrating there. But 17 at quarter time. But after that, just went absolutely ham. And obviously with their last quarter being 51 points was fantastic. So she was the person I was most impressed with. But also shout out to Daisy Darcy with 81 points there as well. Would be very, very handy for those coaches that had her on their double. Person I'd probably be most disappointed with from this game. It's not most disappointing because it's obviously not her fault, but Matea Breed would have to be probably the one there. I've felt this pain throughout every single double game week, except this one for once where all my double players played both games. I've had it with Bree Davey, had it with Jess Hosking, had it with Katie Brennan. I know what it feels. A lot of people brought in Matea Breed. I know Liam was one. I think JS also made the Breed move, which I liked as well to make some cash. And she looked really good, 30 at quarter time. And then she was on, I think, 48 at halftime or whatever. And then she gave away 2 free kicks in the third quarter, then did her ankle. And then that meant she missed her second game. So just that thing with the double game weeks, just it sucks. Unfortunately, that's the game we are playing this year. So hopefully no double game weeks next year. But unfortunately disappointed with that. But also another shout out as well. Actually, I'll do the shout out to her in the next Gold Coast game we get to that. So we'll move to Essendon and Sydney. And I probably should have said as well that with Hawthorn getting the job done there by 13 points. Essendon, Sydney ended up being a close game in the end. Essendon getting the job done by 3 points. Jaiden, who are you most impressed with and disappointed for this game?
Maddie Gay keeps going amazingly well, 79 points. And I would say fairly close to D1. So, she's 72.3 average, so only 5 points off. So there's a bunch of them there. She's been an amazing pick, gone up $250,000. And I would suspect maybe goes up a little bit more with a 79. Great starting pick. So if you've got her, then you'll be stoked with that.
Yeah.
And I suppose a disappointing score. There's not a heap here, but actually, I do know who. Yeah. So the most traded in player this week, brought in by 1,500 teams, Lisa Steen, 23 points.
Yeah, not great, not great. And I think I'm pretty sure she scored most of them in one quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
So that was in the next, yeah, she did that in the next game as well, where she practically scored nothing. And then,
yeah, so I'm just having a look at a quarter by quarter split. So the first quarter, she was on. Actually, it might have been the first quarter in this game. So she scored 13 points in the first quarter. Then she went 6 in the second. So again, 19 at halftime, and then ended up with just the 4 points in the third quarter. And then she had the 0 points in the last quarter. So yeah, very disappointing for those coaches that jumped on. I was a bit worried about Ella Heads at a lot of times throughout this the two games, being on the wing. And then they put her behind the ball in the game today. Surprised that a defender scores well playing in defence. Who would have thought that one? But yeah, pretty much everyone, as you said, besides Lisa Steen, did their job in this game. So it was a good game for fantasy in general. Moving to Thursday with Melbourne defending the GWS Giants by 16 points there. Melbourne getting their first win since round 1, I believe, as well. And a lot of interest in this game because both these teams are on their doubles, and we'll be talking about them, I'm sure, shortly in terms of targets. But probably got to give it to the two top scorers in this game. Both players that went over 90, being Zali Goldsworthy with a 97 and Kate Hall with a 95. Good to see Kate Hall back in form after a few down weeks since round 1 with 27 touches there to get to a 95. And Goldsworthy as well, getting this, again, scoring in bunches, and she'll be a target, I'm sure, for a lot of people this week as a midfielder there as well. In terms of the player probably most disappointed with from this game, unfortunately, she's probably got to go to Izzy Huntington here. Just the 33 points. Obviously, Jaiden, you mentioned her before. Just it's funny. I saw her a lot. I saw her take a fair few marks. Just didn't translate to a good enough score, unfortunately. So, yeah, 33 points is definitely not what you want from a player on the one game as well. I know, Jaiden, you were saying about how you should have played Ella Smith over Huntington, but didn't matter because Ella Smith didn't play the second game. So it was not a bad thing. And I don't know if she would have scored too much, to be honest, anyway. Moving to Friday's game with Adelaide beating St Kilda by 4 points. A bit of a scrappy game, this one. Crows not quite their best, and St Kilda taking their chances when they were there, and Crows getting the job done. So probably a bit hard to go past the play you're impressed with, Jade, but maybe you weren't impressed because you didn't own her. But who were you impressed with and not impressed with for this game?
Yeah, like 172 from Marinoff. It's just like borderline, like this will be the best season probably we'll ever see, because something I suspect in the AFLW moving forward, like as the game gets better, we might see a more spread distribution of scoring, and we won't see those players dominating. So, like, she's just absolutely dominating, smashing probably every fantasy record that will ever exist this year. And yeah, personally, I was not watching, but the TV was on out there, and I was doing some stuff, and I just kept hearing Marinoff and Hatchard in the first quarter. Like, I heard that names probably 40 times, and I was thinking, okay, I don't want to look at the scores at all. I did look at three-quarter time, and it was like 140. So, yeah, she's just dominating. It's as I said before, it's really unfortunate because I did move up quite a lot without her. So just imagine if she didn't score 170. Yeah. Like, if she came out and scored 70, I would be 100 points up. I'd be close to the top 100, things like that. Like, to do it without her, it means I think I would still do it in hindsight. I would still trade her out and just hope that she doesn't practically just score the most amazing scores ever.
Yeah, it's pretty much like what I did in the men's season. It's pretty much the cherry to sweet move. Like, most times you'd probably do it in hindsight, a mid-pricer option that we didn't realize is going to go on to be one of the top rucks for the year. Go down to Jordan Sweet, who was already a lot of people's R3, cash up, go get a premium mid, and then Cherry going to be the top scoring player for the rest of the year. I don't think any of us really saw that coming. And then Sweet getting COVID the following week and then missing, and then sort of like, I got a Goldstein, and then that went downhill. But it's a bit like this year, right? You go double game weeks. She's priced at 1.8 million. You think, okay, she'll probably average about 120, 130 while I don't have her. Trade her out. bring in a midfield on their double, keep doing that as the weeks go on, then go back on a Marinoff, hoping she drops even 100K, 200K, make a little bit of money there. But for her to go out and pump out a 191 and a 172, you pretty much went exactly like the cherry to sweet thing. Pretty much as bad as what you really could have hoped for, unfortunately. So, and the crazy thing is, she turns 27 after the season finishes. So she's still got plenty of football to go. She's right in her prime now. And it's just ridiculous what she is doing week on week. Like, I thought she was quiet in the first quarter. I was watching, I thought, I haven't seen Marinoff a great deal. And I'll look at the stats at quarter time and see she's had 11 touches and she's on 49. So, as JS said, I was watching it backwards because she was quite busy. Who were you not impressed with from this game?
Personally, it'd be Fiddler, because I've traded her in 2 weeks ago and she's put together 50 points combined in those 2 weeks. Only 24 again. Like, I wasn't expecting much against Adelaide, who were mega hard for rucks. -16 updated on the scale. So I wasn't expecting a lot, but it's disappointing because I should have gone just down to basement, like 300K, instead of paying 550 for her, because she's going to lose more money than what I brought her in for, which is a bit unfortunate because she is kind of my path to getting Noffy back. So it does suck a bit. But I also think if I went for a 300K player, then I would have used that cash and then I never would have had a downgrade option, I guess. So it's kind of maybe a deliberate thing to do so I don't spend the only cash that I have.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as someone that could have got her or Lily Pearce when they were both 300K that week, she made her debut and I went for Lily Pearce. Safe to say, inside, I feel sorry for anyone that jumped on her and was hoping that she'd make money, but also at the same time for my own team, I'm like, thank God it hasn't cost me like 700-800K, because that's what I was thinking after 2 weeks. I was thinking she's near 600. She keeps going at like 60s and 70s. She's going to be like O'Dowd. Thankfully, I had it started O'Dowd, but she could have made a lot more. So, as selfishly as it sounds, it's sort of I've dodged a bullet, but I have had a few bullets that come my way. Unfortunately, come away this season. So, we'll move to the North and Bulldogs game. So, actually, hang on, is that the next game? Yes, it is. Sorry, I thought I skipped four. So North getting the job done by 55 points here. Who was I impressed with from this game? I probably wasn't really hugely impressed with anyone from this game. It was a very weird game, low scoring game. Probably it's really the only option I can really go with is the combo of Garner and Riddell of 96 and 94. But you're probably wanting a little bit more against the Bulldogs, especially. Maybe give it to Garner because she started quite slow and got to being the top scoring part of the game. So maybe I'll go with her. But this is probably one of those games that there wasn't really a great deal of people. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely very impressed with their scoring. In terms of who I was disappointed with, there's actually a few people that didn't score too great. So if anyone still did have Ali Gavalis at F5, she only scored the 18 points. Then you had Ruby Tripodi would be the one I'd probably say I'm most disappointed with, the 35 in a good matchup. And then Izzy Pritchard, hopefully no one still has her and traded, but she scored just the 42 points in this game, which is obviously tough matchup, but 18 touches, only 2 tackles. You'd be expecting a bit more from her. So disappointing there from a few of those Dogs players and Tripodi. Moving to the Richmond and Collingwood game. So Richmond up by 36 points here. Who are you impressed with and disappointed from this game, Jane?
Conti top scored, so that's great. And yeah, I was hoping she would top score. Like, I just kind of wanted her to top score, just because like the scoring up until this point, like barely anyone had gone over 100. So I was just saying, just top score. I didn't want to like put a points value on it. So I'm glad she did that. I mentioned Sheeran earlier as well, 2 goals. I think on the commentary they said she might have only kicked like 1 or maybe 2 goals before this game, and she came out and put 2 goals up in the 91. So I'm really happy with that and kind of timing that trade perfectly, getting it nice and cheap, and she's now gone to 78, 91 for me. So yeah, really happy with her. I suppose
because she was quiet in the first quarter. I think she had like 9 points, but it was the last 3 quarters highlighted by that final quarter where she had 36 points. So yeah, she's been a very good pickup for both of us. We both jumped on her in round 5 for her double. So yeah, very, very happy with her.
Yeah, great. Katie Brennan is the disappointing one. If you did hold, I know a fair few people traded. She's not the most traded out player. I don't think she was even close to. So I'm not actually sure whether people got off her or held her hoping she would play type of thing. It's a bit hard to tell.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so 35 points, really disappointing against Collingwood. You would have thought she could make the most of that, no goals. But yeah, I suppose this game was pretty whack, the lightning storm and stuff. So not the best for a key forward, but again,
I was wondering if they were going to come back on. I thought they might have. I thought if this goes on for a while, it might not come back out. But thankfully,
I was wondering. I looked like on the fantasy site what happens if the game is called off. I was a bit nervous about Conti in our matchup, but yeah, for Brennan, it's just been a.
What would happen?
I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything in there.
I'd assume the score just stays the same. I'd assume.
I was personally hoping that it would say, we'll double the score, and then Conti would have got 142. But yeah, I guess Brennan, it's just, you kind of would have, if you held, you would have wanted her to score okay, because you were probably backing in the fact that she was fit again. I don't think she quite was.
It didn't look good. She dropped a few marks as well. Yeah, 35, especially 800K. Her break-in would have been like high enough to mean that she'll drop a bit in price. She might be the 700s, maybe even a little bit lower. I don't know if you've got a sort of projected price there. I'm sure Lockout will lift at some point in the near future.
Yeah, she'll probably be 700K roughly.
Yeah, still decent enough price there. So maybe that's your pathway to a forward. Maybe it's a Chelsea Randall switch. Maybe that might be what coaches look at doing potentially this week as well. But also, shout out as well, but then not shout out to Ellie McKenzie. Traded her in Bolter, scores a 98. Unbelievable. I went her to, who did I bring? Oh, I went Gabby O'Sullivan because in the save bit of cash, then go get a midfielder this week. And cost me 42 points, 42 points, sorry. So not great. Moving over to West Coast and Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide get the job done by 13 points. And it's very hard, again, to go past Ella Roberts. She is just an absolute star. I'll tell you what, I remember I had this chat with Tom from Game Day Squad. Obviously, I did the shows with him, and we were chatting about how, who's got the best sort of dynasty value for Game Day Squad, because obviously you keep your players on that platform. And we were saying probably Charlie Robomb's out there, but obviously Goldsworthy and Ella Roberts are there. I think Ella Roberts is closing that gap to Charlie Robomb pretty quickly. And she's probably almost a more sort of gifted footballer. She's got that flair about her as well. Kicks goals, she's just an incredible footballer. And it's very hard to play. If I didn't play fantasy, I would love watching West Coast and just seeing Ella Roberts play. But the fact that I play fantasy and don't own her, it is very frustrating because she just looks so good and scores well. But she'll be a pre-mid for years to come. We'll be owning her for many years to come as well. But also, shout Charlie Thomas, great game again, 85. I believe that's her best score for the season, or second best score for the season. Caitlin Wendland as well, 72. Was, if anyone still held her, sort of with me, bit of like the people that have watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the vindication with Holt. That's a bit of me starting Wendland over Piper.
I traded her out instead of Window over in Bolter. So amazing. And I traded Wendland so I could get Window into the forward line. Horror.
Unbelievable. But I'm glad I started Wendland over Window at the start of the year. Bit of vindication there, but also it was my mistake. I forgot to put Window back in my team. But and also Gemma Houghton. But I've been pretty happy with that pick. She's got a great run. So I think if you're looking for a forward, she's still pretty cheap there. But she would put up another 68 points. In terms of who I was disappointed with from this game, Piper Window's probably going to be the one, just the 26. I know we're not expecting 60s and 70s every week from her, but at least get to 40, 50 and keep the cash gen ticking over. But 26, she'll lose a bit of cash as well, unfortunately, there. But Tess Lyons was disappointing as well, just the 23. And then also Sinead Goody, I don't expect, again, 90s on field, but 30 at quarter time, I was thinking, okay, I might actually get kissed here in our matchup because she didn't have Goody on field. I was thinking I might be able to get a decent score from her. Had just the 32 points after quarter time because she actually tagged Ella Roberts and played in the midfield, which is interesting, but her scoring didn't reflect it. Moving to the Saturday night game, Carlton and Brisbane. Brisbane get the job done by 55 points, and it could have been a lot more as well. Kicked a fair few behinds in this game. Who were you impressed with and not impressed with from this game?
We're up to the Lions game, right?
Yes. Did I say that?
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure because I had too many tabs open. It's another one of those low scoring games, which is why Noffy is just like more annoying because she'll go up so much more money because everyone else scored low. Mullins was outstanding. She was everywhere. I think I'm pretty sure, I don't know much about her, but I think is she normally like a half kind of forward? Yeah, so forward.
Yeah,
and
half forward pushed up, maybe sometimes a wing.
She was absolutely everywhere, getting back into defense for intercept marks. So yeah, that's a great score where no one else really went amazing.
Good to see Courtney Hodder did her job again. 63, 8 tackles.
Yeah,
love to see that.
She's gotten going, which is nice. I think she's probably the player I'm most comfortable with in the forward line. I'll talk about my trade plans a bit later, but I'm pretty confident I'll keep her. And I suppose the letdown. There's not a lot here. Maybe Gab Pound. She went amazing in the double and only 42. No marks.
Trade her in Bolter as well, thinking Brisbane, a lot of points, a lot of scoring shots, think it'd be good. No, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many kick-ins she had because I haven't updated, but last week in that second game, she had 10. So there was a bit of a boost last week, 10 kick-ins in one game. So I don't know how many. The Lions kicked 14 behinds, and she still couldn't get
13
50.
kicks. I wouldn't be shocked if 10 of those 13 kicks for Gab Pound were kick-ins because I didn't notice much of her outside the kick-ins. I saw her getting all the kick-ins. I thought, Gab Pound must be going okay, getting all these kick-ins. No, not much else, unfortunately. So, yeah, she was definitely the disappointing one from this game here. We'll move over to the final 3 games. Obviously, all the games today and Gold Coast and Eston. Eston get the job done by 9 points. In this game, the one player that was good in this game was Lucy Single. Only played a ton up here. 103, 22 touches there with 8 tackles. She's good. And she's been pretty good as well. So she scored the 103 in this game. And then what did she score in the first game? So she got 103 and then she scored 95. So if you did go her, not bad, a pretty good pick. You'd be pretty happy with the points you got, considering that a lot of players sort of had one really good week and then, one good game and then a poorer game than the next one. There. And also Jean Anscombe got a 98 as well, so she was good. But the player I did say I wanted to shout out, I was 4K short of getting her this week. And I'm really annoyed because my rank would be so much better. And it's Jack DePie. I was really considering this as like the Gemma Houghton 2.0 play where key forward, dropped a bunch in cash, got the double, couple of decent enough matchups. And she went 70 and 74. So 144 combined. If you brought her in, kudos to you. Fantastic pick. I wanted it 4K short, as I said. It would have meant sacrificing Gardner, which in hindsight, going a Lucy Single, leaving a Maddie Prasparkas instead and going Jack DePie instead would have been the play. But at the end of the day, you can't get every single trade correct. But if you went her, you'd be very, very happy with that. In terms of who I was disappointed with, it's probably someone that didn't play in this game. It's almost got to go to Ella Smith because people probably thought, she's been named, might play both games. And she plays 1, so she scores 0. And it is very hard because Bonnie Toogood would be the one you'd see the name and go, Bonnie Toogood only scored 35. First game back, she came back really quick as well. I don't know if you saw much of this game, Jaiden. I didn't get to see much of it at all. How did she look from your point of view?
Yeah, I watched this whole game as a nervous Maddie Prasparkas owner. She was targeted well, Toogood. I do think she didn't look that bad, but I think she just got pretty soundly beaten by her opponents. They often intercept marked, and the Suns took a lot of marks overall, and she just couldn't really get that part of her game going when she was fairly well looked after by the defenders. So, yeah, she'll lose a fair bit of cash now, probably 200.
What was her break-even pre-round?
It was 145. So what did she end up scoring?
35.
50-something, 35. So she'll probably lose around 300,000 is my guess. So Brennan, Too Good, and Jupai will all be around the same price.
Yeah, that's crazy that Jupai such a bad start of the year and then has got going last 2 games. And yeah, damn, I just wish I had the 4K. Again, Hosking missing, Bree Davey, concussion. It cost me that, but that's fantasy for you. But yeah, bloody Too Good's going to be definitely an option. I think we consider F5 post probably this round. Give her another week and we'll see how she goes. Again, if she doesn't look great, then maybe we don't go there, but she'll be very cheap there. So what will her price be? She'll be in the 600s, won't she?
Too Good.
Yeah. Sorry, did I say a different name? Yeah, Too Good.
She'll be around 700 is my guess. 700.
Yeah, and her break even. I know you haven't done them yet, but I know that she'll be have another high break even, probably pretty similar to that 120, 130 range. So we'll have to see where that ends up next week. We'll move over to the Sydney and Geelong game, with Geelong getting the job done by 3 points again. Sydney coming late in the quarter. Obviously did against the Bombers, and they nearly did it to Geelong. But Geelong again, 5-14. They probably could have been a lot further in front. But who were you impressed with and not in this game?
I think Hurley ended up very close to the top scorers, and she was kind of that bargain pick below 1 million that really stood up with 100 in both games. So, yeah, she was very good today, and I think she was playing a little bit more up forward as well. So she did really well to get involved, in a kind of game where it was kind of a bit of a close game, so it wasn't a blowout or anything, and she got involved. So, yeah, really good on her.
That's been a really common occurrence over the double game weeks, is that it hasn't necessarily been the top price players of the week that we think are going to score really well. It's been the players that are a bit of value. Like round 4, in the first double game week, we had Sophie Conway and Ella Roberts top scoring for the round. They were both under $1 million, or maybe Conway might have just been over. I think she's in the 900s. Then you move to like round 5. That was the exception. Obviously, Garner, Riddell, Conti, all those players going. But then Akili Shearer also scored really well as well there, and she was obviously quite good value. And then this week, obviously, you mentioned Sophia Hurley is scoring well. Even Tanya Kennedy had a pretty solid 2 games, and she was a bit of value. So we've seen that. So it'll be interesting to see who can do it in the next week there. So, and who are you disappointed with from this game?
It was very. This game was pretty funny because, like, at halftime, I was fairly happy with how I was going because I didn't bring in. I guess the 4 most traded in players for the week were Lisa Steen, Georgie Prasparkas, Ella Heads, and someone else from Laura Gardner. So Gardner was fine because I got her, but with the other 3, they were all struggling at half time. And then in the third quarter, those 4 came out and combined for 135. So that was pretty funny, I thought. Considering they were the 4 most traded in, I think Steen was on like 0 very early or very late into the. I'm not sure when, but she had 1 big quarter.
Yeah, 0 point first half, not just first quarter, first half. She was on 0 at the half, and then third quarter, 40 points.
Yeah, and she's the most traded in player this week. Obviously, Liam talked about the coach's reluctance to how they played last week with the defensive chipping around, but they got it going. Ella Heads really saved a score.
Thankfully, I'm very happy with that. Yeah, she had 27 in the third and 21 in the last, so 48 point second half, ended up with a 64. So that was I'm pretty happy with that, with her 2 games, 130 points combined.
Yeah,
considering she's playing the wing. As I said, she went. People were saying she went to defense during the third quarter, and then that was when she started going well. So it's like, oh, that's a surprise. So, not.
Yeah, it's a superb save in kind of both the weeks. She just has a massive quarter and then doesn't do anything else, but it's fine for a defender. The disappointing one for me is Friswell. 72 in the first game. Was hoping she could, maybe get to 130 or something. That would have been really nice, but Yeah, only 33 in this game. I think she had a fair few points early on as well. So it's tough because, these wing rolls aren't amazing. And actually, I don't think she started that well. It was actually, she was playing on Lucy McAvoy, who was on like 40 at quarter time.
And she had 4. I think Friswell had 4 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. She didn't have a great start because I was watching that. I was seeing Friswell struggling in our matchup, and I was just like, Friswell's not going well. Davis, just do something and keep me in the matchup. And then at least Ella Head's got going. But because Davis only had 12 points, I probably would have given it to her, the disappointing one. 12 points from her today is disappointing. Again, I wasn't expecting 100, but I was expecting like maybe get to a 30 or 40, get 70, 80 points of the week, and I'll be pretty happy with that, considering I didn't pay much. But then again, she did only play the 49% game time. It was funny because she started the game against Essendon, and then this game, Alexia Hamilton started the game. So I think that was probably a bit of the management with the two games, probably sharing the load. They're 51% game time for Hamilton, 49 for Davis. So it was clearly that 50-50 split. So, yeah, very frustrating there for Giselle Davis, unfortunately. And then we'll move on to the final game, which was Hawthorn get the job done by 9 points over Freo. And, it was good to see some tons in this game. Obviously, been not many tons throughout the whole of the weekend, bar a few players. But Lucy Wales has been very good. If you held on to her, she was the one. If you had her or Strom, you'd be very happy with how your team's looking. 104 points in a tough matchup, 43 hitouts to 38. So obviously, as we know, a lot of stoppages in this game. Lucy Wales is good. But Ash McCarthy, Eliza West, and Mim Strom all really good. Eliza West was a great pick for those that went there, a 98 and a 102, I think. So 200 points, you'd be pretty happy with that there as well. But then also like Ash Brazel, 72. I know you've talked about it, Jaden. She was one that we missed in the preseason. We probably should have paid a bit more attention to the name there. But and then obviously Ariana Hetherington as well scored really well with the 72. So if you had her like Liam, you'd be absolutely cheering with that one. In terms of disappointing ones, player from this game, there wasn't, I think it was two, looking in, not too many, probably the one disappointing one. Culper might have gone as a bit of a pod, but Anya McDonough, only the 27 points, really disappointing when you're really hoping for a big boost from a double player and a bit of a unique. I think JS, I'm pretty sure, in our league went there. And I like the pick, just unfortunately not the score you would have wanted. But a lot of stoppages, as we said, in this game, so probably not really much chance for her to score there as well. So, cool. They're the games. So we'll run through the options, obviously, with our final double game week of the season there. So we'll go through the players from the teams playing. So we'll start off with the best team in the AFL men's and women's, and that is the mighty Adelaide Crows. Okay, so we'll chat about this first, right? So you don't have Marinoff. You're targeting her this week. Is it a case of, for the people that traded her out or didn't start with her, like a Mitch, and I feel for those people, especially that didn't start with her because they haven't been able to have for any time, is it a case of break team to get her in, like as in get a rookie F5 and maybe a rookie D5 to bring in Marinoff? Is that sort of where? What's your plan to get Marinoff at this stage? I guess we'll go into your trade plans, Eddie, because Marinoff's a talking point for people that don't have her. But what is your plan to get her in this week?
Yeah, so it's obviously been planned for a little while because I didn't really want to get stuck. I suppose, the idea is a kind of rookie on field to get her back, because that's ultimately why I traded her out, to get a rookie off field, kind of be full primo a bit. Like Huntington's really my worst player, and I've got primos everywhere else. So she's worked in that way, and now I need to get it back. So I might just reverse that. I'm hoping that Pounga plays, because then she's on the double. I can trade out Tripodi, who is actually my plan originally. So it sucks she's gone really low, because everyone will trade her now, and that's who I wanted to get rid of. I'm thinking Tripodi and Fiddler out, as long as Pounga plays, and that should get me enough cash.
I think Panga will. I know that we were a little bit concerned when she got suspended that she had a really poor game and she wasn't. But since then, Giants have had a few injuries, like obviously like Nicola Barr is injured and a few injuries. So I think she will. I think like for example, you had like Doyle only had like 4 points for the whole game against Melbourne. So I'm sure there are players there that haven't played well enough. They brought Panga in. I do expect her to come back in, but I guess we'll see, right? Because you just don't know. We thought Brennan was going to play both games, then she missed the second game. So I'm hoping as well that she does come back in.
Yeah, and like I'm stuck with her in my team. Like I didn't trade her out when she got suspended or scored 4 points. So I'm kind of hoping that she plays on the double because I don't have to use a trade there. I think Tripodi was probably my candidate that I was thinking of. And the low score makes it very obvious now, which sucks because I was hoping this score would come next week. But and Fiddler's going to be cheaper than I would have liked. So I don't think I'm going to get enough cash from that. I'm hoping with that kind of move, getting Fiddler down, Tripodi to literally anyone because I've got Ella Smith in my utility. Hopefully that means I have a decent amount of cash to get, like maybe keep Rowbottom and trade out one of my other ones like Ali Anderson or Maddie Prasparkas to get Marinoff. I'm not sure if I'll do that or not, or I'll just go with Rowbottom, who will probably have the highest break even in the comp this week. I'm thinking I might do that. But I suppose for people in this situation, you pretty much, I think you have to get her. Like you can, if you're kind of in a position probably similar to mine, you could just anti-pod her and hope that she, I don't know, something goes wrong.
I think she's have to get her. I think she's the one player that you don't want anti-pod. It will probably could ruin your week. You'd be hoping for an injury, but we really don't want to be hoping for injuries with players. We already see too many injuries as it is. So, get her in. She's played over 90% game time as well in every game bar one, where she played 86 against Hawthorn. So, she might play 75, 80% game time maybe in one of the games, maybe that second game. But at the end of the day, even a Marinoff in 70% game time is still probably going to go 110, 120. So, and if anyone's going to go past 250 in the two games, it's going to be her. I don't know what your thoughts are. Obviously, Crow's got a few good options at the top. I'm still a big fan of Anne Hatchard, and I'm probably more of a fan of it now after the game on the weekend because I saw she was involved a lot, just didn't really get many tackles, a few kicks that just didn't quite get to her, like poor kicks from teammates or she'd be in contest situations and the St Kilda player would just get the punch away. But she played 96% game time. She plays high game time every week. Yeah, she might, again, a bit like Marinoff, might play lower game time there. But I think the fact that she's going to be cheaper, I think less people are going to now be keen because she's now gone 4 games in a row under 100. But this is Anne Hatchard we're talking about. Like she's one of the standout players in the AFLW. And I think with 2 games in a week, I think she is a good pickup. There. Melbourne as well, good matchup, and Giants, good matchup. 2 pretty good matchups there. And then you've got Chelsea Randall. I don't know about you. People know I love Chelsea Randall, and I want to pick her. I'm actually quite nervous with her this week because I think she could rest that game against the Giants. I think the Melbourne game will be bigger for the Crows at home, but the game away against the Giants, I could see maybe she doesn't rest the whole game. Maybe she's just managed throughout both games, but I don't see her playing a full-time role in both games. And as a forward, I'm a bit nervous. Essentially, you're going to be paying $900K for her. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Jaiden, with Chelsea Randall? Because, again, Brendan to her, fine. I'm just not sure I'd be going a rookie up and using that $500K there when you can probably be using it elsewhere. Yeah,
so hypothetically, if I had Marinoff, I think I would be more keen to target Hatchard rather than a Randall. Like, Randall is so expensive. And her break-even will be decent. So not that it really matters this time of year, but I just think she's so expensive for the risks that she has associated with her. Like if you started with her, then sure, those risks were still there, but she was so much cheaper. I think those risks still exist, like you mentioned, and now she's going to be like 930. So she's just way too expensive for my liking. Like Hatchard will be 1.1 in the midfield. So like if you're weighing up between those two, I just think the midfielder will give you a better result there. Because like it's not like Randall is 700k or anything like that. She's, I
It's
think
going to be
close
over
to the most
900 still.
expensive forward. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going for, if someone wants a Crows player that's around that price, I much prefer Maddie Newman, I think. In defence, she's got 104 on the weekend. That's now 200s this year. You don't see me in defence haven't even got 100, let alone 2. She's been fantastic. She was great on the weekend. Tackling was what got her that score as well. She's had the 250s there against Port and Brisbane, but then 101, 66, 86, 104. If she scores 180 plus points in 2 games, I wouldn't be shocked. So I think she's a good pick. And you could even take a stab at someone like a Danielle Ponter. She hasn't been great bar that game against Hawthorn, 52, 37, 32, but she's going to be under 700k. You could take a stab there at less than 200k less. Not like the forwards are going massive anyway. But also the smoky that I want to get your thoughts on before we move on to the other teams. Caitlin Gould is a smoky that I don't mind. 64 and 78 in her in the last 2 games. Obviously plays a little bit of ruck time, which is great. Gets a little bit of extra points there, but kicking goals as well. Would you go Caitlin Gould over Chelsea Randall and save that 200k, or might be just over 100k maybe by the time price changes come in? But your thoughts?
Yeah, and this kind of mirrors my thinking for Adelaide as a team. These next 3 weeks, the fixtures are just amazing. And I'd love to get as many of them as I could. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but like for a forward like Gould, you're playing against Melbourne, GWS and Collingwood, who are all in the top 5 easiest matchups for forwards. So it's literally perfect. You can get a forward like that. You'll need a midfielder, things like that. Like you just want to load up on the Crows, is my opinion. I don't know if there's going to be as many options from other teams, but obviously you will have to pay for what you get with the Crows. They're very expensive. But I think that these next 3 weeks are crazy good.
Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, I'd agree. There's no cheap option for the Crows either. It's just pretty much those top 4 or 5 or 6, and that's probably where you're looking. So, premium options at the Crows is where we'll be looking there. Next thing we'll move to is the Giants. So, there's probably the 3 midfielders. So, probably just get your thoughts on who you'd pick out of Beck Beeson, Elise Parker, and Zali Goldsworthy. So, they're the 3 that people will be considering. I'm probably on the Piggy Parker train out of the 3, just with the role security over Goldsworthy. Who would you be going out of the 3 if you had to pick one? Or how would you rank the 3, I guess I probably should say.
So Goldsworthy had a season low 62% centre bounces this week compared to the last 4 weeks where she went 100, 100, 100 and 85. But yeah, Parker's kind of been that consistent role around the 85% in every game. So I do like that. This is where you'll probably find the value because, GWS, I mean, it's not the greatest matchup ever, but I think, there's no really expensive player on this team, so one of them will have to probably go well, which is actually what we saw with Freo this week with Ash McCarthy, who was a very silly miss by me considering they have a great fixture for the rest of the year. So it's kind of that deal where there's no one really expensive. One of them will go really well. I do think it's a great option to pick up one of them, especially if you've already got, say, Marinoff in your team and you want to maybe sideways to premium mids and just get one of them that's cheaper like this and get another one who like Hatchard, who's, kind of 1.1. You could get Goldsworthy for about 950, let's say. So I do like that as an option.
Yes, actually, just looking, I've just got the stats here because obviously these 2 teams, Crows and Giants, played last year. And if there was any reason as to why you want to get Marinoff in this week, if you don't, she played the Giants last year. 40 disposals with 36 kicks, 8 marks, 8 tackles, 174. So if we see something like that, it could be massive. Goldsworthy had a 102 in that game as well. Hatchard 97 and Elise Park had 86, but she did have 31 touches with 20 handballs. So just something to note with those 2 teams there as well. I guess a lot of us have got O'Dowd. You're probably not trading her in if you don't have her because you'd be aiming to get Mim Strom hopefully at some point or someone up in that price range. So if you've got her, you hold for the week. Would you recommend bringing in a Izzy Huntington after a 33? She's got obviously the double this week. You've also got like a Georgia Garnett who scored an 80 against Melbourne. So she obviously will be a bit more expensive there as well. Do either of those two forwards interest you? And obviously with the flag that I know Liam chatted about with Jono on their Twitter space on air last week, is that their game against St Kilda is at Kinetic Stadium down at Frankston. So probably going to be a bit windy down there. So are you keen on either of them, or do you think you'd probably just pass and, as you said, maybe not use as many trades in the forward line if you can help it?
Yeah, I don't really love the idea of trading for Huntington. Like she'll be like probably 650k. Like it's still decently expensive. If you do need a GRS forward and she plays, I think Pounga could be a great option for 387. Like we're pretty keen on her in the preseason. If she could come out and score 100 combined in these two games, that'd be an amazing return for someone who's under 400k, which is probably what I like more. If you don't have her, I don't know if I'd be going for Huntington, because you pretty much like she's really only had that one big score against the Eagles where she was like best on ground probably.
Yeah, 250s and 230s outside of that.
Yeah, so I don't really want to, if you pay 600k for another 230s, then yeah, that's not
60,
great at all.
Yeah.
When you could like have a crack with Pounga, who's under 400k, could do similar, could do worse, but at least she's cheaper. So I don't know. Yeah,
but yeah, that could be the difference between you getting a Marinoff or not. If you don't have Marinoff, or getting a Hatchard or a Parker or one of the other mids we'll talk about on the double. So yeah, that's interesting. I like Henry V just put in our chat as well. Bails is Marinoff a hold this week. Seriously, mate, what are you doing? Surely you know that for a fact. But yeah, so in terms of Giants, I don't know if there's much else. Like, I don't know what Tani Evans is. The role just keeps shifting. She's playing again more forward of the ball, 63 and 55, 724. Is that just a no from you? Do you think there's just better options in defense?
I haven't looked overly at the options in defense this week. Obviously, none for the Giants, really. They only have 4 defenders on that entire list. I'm not sure how that's possible. In fantasy, that is. But yeah, I think it's probably a pass.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there are other options. If you can get Maddie Newman, she's obviously the defensive upgrade. If you can get one this week, that'd be where I'd be going if you're looking for someone there. Moving over to Melbourne. I guess I don't know if Eliza McNamara is injured or not, but she had a really good treat before she did. She's got a 121 against North, 123 against Freo from 100% game time, and then was on 59 points from 49% game time against the Bombers, but got injured. I don't know if how long she's injured for. She's going to be out, but if you're on a real smoky at 1.2 million, essentially, she could be someone you consider. But I think she would probably be out. I'm not sure. Kate Hoare, I think if you don't have her, would she be someone you'd still be happy to bring in? I know she's 950 odd. Would you still be happy to be targeting her this week, Jaiden?
Yeah, if you don't have her, then
Randall, if you didn't have either. I'd be going Kate Hoare, the Chelsea Randall, I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at the fixture. So Adelaide have the best next 3 games for fixture for forwards. Oh, I know Randall's not really a forward, but Melbourne have the worst. So if you can bank on Randall playing both games, then look, you could go there. I guess the thing is, after these next 3 weeks, it reverses and Adelaide have the worst. So you'd want to bank on Randall playing both games, and you'll probably get a fairly good indication of whether they're resting or not when the teams come out. On Tuesday night, they'll come out. Yeah,
exactly. Well, another one, a player that we've had all year, I believe both of us have had her, Sinead Goldrick, who's been one of the best picks of the season. If you started with her, she's gone over 70 in every game bar one, and that game was against North Melbourne. No surprise, North Melbourne, one of the hardest teams to score against there. I think if you don't have her, actually, here's a question for you. Would you go Sinead Goldrick if you don't have either? Sinead Goldrick, who's more popular, or Maddie Newman, who's the pod that's got the good matchups? Where are you going out of the two?
Personally, I'd probably go for Goldrick just because of the midfield time. I think that's more reliable.
Yeah.
Obviously, Newman's had massive scores this year. Like at this point last year, I'm pretty sure like only one defender had even turned up all year, and Newman's done it twice already herself.
Yeah.
So and Hannah Priest did it as well, I think. So yeah, she's got that ceiling, but like I'd probably prefer to bank on the midfield time. And this is coming from someone who owns Emma O'Driscoll. She just doesn't do enough in defence, and I think Newman can kind of be put in that boat as well. Especially from like a kick-in perspective. She doesn't take any. So, yeah, I like that kind of midfield time a bit more. So I'd be going for Goldrick.
Yeah. It's a bit like, as you said, Emma O'Driscoll and Gabby Newton. Gabby Newton's been getting some CBAs, was a better scorer between the two. So a bit like that. I think I'd probably lean to Goldrick, but it's an interesting conversation. I think if you need that pod and you need to make some ground up, Newman could be that play you do over Goldrick. But I think a lot of people have got Goldrick that are sort of up in sort of the top sort of ranks or the sort of the coaches that have been watching and taking a lot of content. So, Goldrick's a good pick if you didn't have her. Maeve Chaplin's been fantastic. She's probably going to be too expensive for us, but she's gone 75, 70, and 71 last three. So you could go there if you wanted to. Even a Megan Fitzsimon, the forward line, went 75 in the game against the Giants. A little bit of midfield time there as well, been good in the last four, gone over 55 in every game. But again, we said Melbourne have got Jane, you said Melbourne have got a tough run, so maybe you don't go there. Besides, I don't know if there's many others you'd go. Maybe you go a rookie. So you've got like, I'm just looking. So like Alicia Pisano's gone 47 and 46 in her two games. You could go there. But yeah, probably outside that, there's probably not too much else that you'd be looking at there. And we'll finish off with, have we got still one more team to go? Have we done all the teams? Or am I forgetting? No, St Kilda. Yes, of course. I thought there was one more. St Kilda. I don't know if I don't think Lambert is an option. She's the only St Kilda player over $1 million. I think just there's a few other options around there. But Tyna Smith, 127 on the weekend. Fantastic. Any interest there from you? 896. I'm sure she'll be near that $1 million mark. We've seen these players around that $1 million or just less go big. Is Tyna Smith one of those players that you'd be keen on?
Yeah, so they play the identical matchups as Adelaide. So I do like it as a play there because two good matchups and yeah, she'll be around about spot bang on $1 million, I reckon. So yeah, good value. And, I like to look at these players that are definite number ones in their team. And she's been that all year. And just like, yeah, to be honest, it's kind of surprising that midfield doesn't have many other scorers in there. Because yeah, she's just been superb in her career so far, and hopefully she continues. I think she's probably the most reliable out of all the Saints you would want to pick. Although she does have some low scores recently, but I think like with the eye test, she just looks the best. So
yeah,
if you're wanting someone with clearances and everything like that, tackles, like she's got that going for her.
Yeah, she looked good on the weekend. Obviously, they're watching the game firsthand, and she was playing on Marinoff for a bit of that game as well. And they were obviously the two players scoring all the points. So yeah, I think she could be a pretty solid option if you want to go for that pod. Giants and Melbourne, as we said, good matchup. So I don't mind her. If Nikki Zenos came back in 670, could that be of any interest for you if you're looking for a player a bit cheaper? Obviously, we know she loves a tackle. She does get a few CBAs there as well. She could be that player that does sort of pop off for a 120, 130 for the double game week. Any interest there from you, Jaiden?
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't really looked at the Saints very much. It's kind of the same as Hawks last week. They just don't have kind of that player that's so far ahead of the rest of the team. So I'm not entirely sure about who I want to go. I think Ty Smith is the best. But like, yeah, I don't know if it's, there's a lot of kind of options there. But yeah, it could work. She's decently expensive though.
Could you perhaps for Serene Watson if you didn't have her? Or do you think that if you started, you keep it, if you didn't, you just don't worry about it?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to worry, but I'm a bit frustrated because I feel like if I watched the practice game, like if it was available to watch, I probably would have seen how powerful she is. Like it was really the first time I got the chance to see her playing after I knew that Marinoff had already gone massive. And like she's a very good distributor, and that's why she's been scoring so well. I'm not sure what the fixture is like, but
yeah, Giants and Melbourne in the 2 games.
Yeah,
it's
so
just frustrating
for a defender, not the best, but
it's just frustrating because I had this thought when I was looking at my team in the preseason. And I thought Kate Lutkins, yes, she was good, but I'm like, do I really think a 36-year-old's going to be the player? And I thought, yep, I'll do it because obviously a lot of people are doing it. And I just thought, yeah, she'll probably still get to 40s and 50s. And I probably should have gone the upside in Serene Watson if she's going to play that role. So that's the frustrating part there. But obviously you can't get everything right and nail it all at the start. And I was looking at her post round 1, but didn't end up going there as well. But yeah, I agree. Like, there's probably not many options for St Kilda. Even like I was half looking at Hannah Priest just to see how she went. She scored 97 the week before, but 21 against the Crows. That's 16 and 21 in 2 of her last 3 games. She just cannot go there, especially in the midfield there. So I don't think there's many St Kilda players we will be targeting this week. Is there anyone that you're considering from any other team at all this week that is not double? Or are you still planning on bringing in 3 players that've got their double this week?
Personally, probably not getting 3 because
I suspect get for Marinoff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I also think that I suppose I could loop with Beattie potentially, so I could get a defender in my utility spot.
She'll come back in this week now that you're hoping for that.
If I knew she wasn't playing, I would have looped Ella Smith and maybe I would have taken her over Huntington, but it didn't matter because she didn't play again. But I think, it's going to be pretty hard to get Marinoff in, and I don't know if I'll be able to get kind of anyone that's not a rookie. So I'll probably just choose the best rookie kind of option. If there's one that comes like Chloe Adams did this week, especially a defender, I might consider it to loop. But yeah, I just can't see myself, unfortunately, really getting anyone else. I think at this point of the year, it's also very important for people to consider like getting in keepers.
So obviously only one more double. So you want to make sure that your team's set ready for that following week as well. I think that's probably something we've got to keep in mind.
Yeah. So like check out the fixtures for the rest of the year. Just quickly in terms of like midfielders, it's Collingwood, Adelaide and Freo who have the best, which is why I'm a bit disappointed about Ash McCarthy. And then, in defence, it's there's not a lot there. But you can look on the other end of it as well and see that Geelong have the worst run for mids for the rest of the year. So if you've got Georgie Prasparkas, you can get off her and get a keeper midfielder in. Hopefully they're on their double, but again, it might not matter if you have enough already with Hoare, Goldrick, Marinoff. You might already have an O'Dowd. You might have enough already, and you could just get that keeper for the rest of the year.
You obviously mentioned Georgie Prasparkas. She probably got off scot-free we said the play went press when you were obviously saying Friswell. She scored 46 today from 20 disposals there. Only 1 tackle, no marks. That pick, unfortunately, just was a fail this week with the 70 and then the 46. Obviously, people were looking at the price and going, yep. And I was looking as well. I've sort of almost got talked out of it by their Discord group saying, Bails, don't overthink it. And that's just the Bails experience, unfortunately. Just overthink everything. And thankfully, this week I went the right way. But yeah, even 85% game time for that's just not great. The one player that I do like that doesn't have the double this week, well, there's actually 2, and I've owned both. This is probably the bias just because I've been able to watch them coach. But Isla Sheeran, I think, is going to be the number 1 defender for the rest of the year. She's averaging 74. She's obviously amongst the top 5. She's got Geelong this week. Great match. I think Richmond got a pretty good run home as well. So even if you don't get her this week, you're probably going a Newman or something like that this week. But next week is someone. And then Gemma Houghton as well, because we've seen her form as she looks better. The first 4 weeks, she looks sluggish. Again, Crows bad matchup. Bulldogs was in the wet. Freo didn't play well, and then North Melbourne was in the wet. But since then, she's gone 55, 73, and 68. She's still cheap, under 700K. I still like her as well. So they're just two players that I've got that, people might look at in terms of in the next couple of weeks. Cool. For those people that missed it as well, so we'll just go through quickly our trade plans. Then we'll wrap everything. Actually, we'll do these questions. There's a couple of super chats here. We'll quickly go through quickly. So Sam's got the first one. He says, Newman or Kate Hoare to bring in?
It's difficult because, Hoare has a pretty bad run the next three. I still would probably go for Hoare. I think she's, got the best kind of role probably at Melbourne. I don't know if there's many others that kind of get around it as much. And she was still well and truly playing midfield on the weekend. So she had 85% centre bounces, which is the second most for Melbourne and also her highest for the year so far. So she was used in there well. Actually, Goldrick did not attend one.
Yeah, she played defence.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, I didn't know that. Sorry about talking about Goldrick before instead of Newman.
I was thinking in my head, but I never said it. I don't know why I didn't say it. Goldrick played defence. I don't know why I should have said that before.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm probably leaning towards Hoare because I think there are probably more options in defence that you could get as a keeper, and I think Newman is probably quite expensive with respect to...
She'll be near that million. She'll be near the million because of the 100. So, and Hoare's owned by nearly 55% as well. So it's like if she does go 120 and you don't have that, that could be bad, especially in the forward line. Whereas if Newman goes, let's say 100, and you've got a Goldrick there instead, she matches it. You've sort of got the same sort of player there. So yeah, I think it's
I feel like if you're weighing up between those two and let's say like a 600K player on the other end, I'm probably more confident to pick a 600K defender that will go okay compared to a 600K forward with respect to Hoare.
Yep. No, I fully agree with that there as well. And Tim Asher's got this one. He says, can you get Marinoff this week? 100,000% you can get Marinoff. And I think we'd make it a priority to get her as well.
I really hope so. Thanks for your thanks for looking out for me, Tim. I hope I can get it.
Yeah, exactly. And we also just want to there was a comment here as well from Jeff Brown saying slid into the top 50 this week, so currently at 49th with a 2020 this round. Very happy so far. Dull rounds have been handy. So Jeff, congrats, mate. Awesome work there as well. Going very well there. A few people there. So NA said they went G-Prez and Breed this week. Horror round. That's obviously very unfortunate there as well. That was one of my combos I was looking at. So, definitely not great. We talked about Ty Smith there from Gone Mad as well. Pat Evans said he brought in Strom, put the captaincy on her, and also went west. But he also had Breed, Beraldson, and Ellis Smith, who didn't play the second game, but he still scored 1845. So still a good week there, Pat, as well. So that most people did pretty well here as well. And then Corey Blackledge said he went McDonough over Jack DePie, which was annoying, costing him a top 100 spot. So unfortunate there, Corey, there. But sounds like a lot of people. Corey went G-Prez and McDonough. So, unfortunate. Unfortunate there. But we will wrap up sort of with our trade thoughts. Obviously, Jane, you went through yours for people that missed out. What are you currently looking at doing this week? Obviously, it's Operation Get Marinoff this week, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't really figured it out with the pricing yet, which I probably could, but I think I'm better off just to wait probably 1 hour or whenever it will open. Get Noffy. So I think to get there, I'll need to go Fiddler to a basement Rook in the Ruck R2 spot. I'm thinking Tripodi can probably go. She was in my head, that was the plan, and she's had her bad score this week, which is unfortunate. I was hoping it would be next week, so I think Tripodi down to another Rook and play Pounger on field with Huntington on that double, so that could work. And then if I can, I'd like to get Maddie Prasparkas up to Marinoff, but that's going to be like 700K. I'm not sure if I have enough for that. So could just be Rowbottom out, who does play the Lions, as someone pointed out in the chat. So I think I think that'll be fairly popular as well, trading out Rowbottom and trading out Tripodi. So
yeah,
I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. My trades, well, I was actually looking at Rowbottom as well, and obviously she's got Brisbane next week, but I'd be nervous if I couldn't get her back for the final three. So she's got Sydney, then she's got Port Adelaide, and then she finishes off with North Melbourne, who we've seen midfielders can go big because North don't tag. So I would be nervous trading her out, but I think she is probably the player that will go for me. Her down to Hatchard will bank me a bit of cash as well. And that will probably give me enough cash to then go Sinead Goody up to Elise Parker. If it doesn't, I'll then do Ramos down to a rookie and then go Goody up to Parker that way, or make a few moves there. I could also go Gardner out there and then go Goody up and do 3 midfield moves there as well. So that's obviously another option I'm considering. I could go Hatchard, Parker, and Goldsworthy potentially, but I've probably then got to trade 2 of them the week after to try and get some of these midfielders back. So I'm not sure I really want to do that just for the double. So maybe I get some cash to then look to upgrade Pounger in round 8 up to hopefully someone like a Bonnie Toogood, or if it's a Jack DePie or someone like that. So a few options I'm considering there, but again, will be good to look at once lockout lifts. And obviously Maddie Newman as well. If I wanted to, I have thought about trading Ella Heads. Probably not as much a priority just because I want these mids, but she does have North Melbourne, which I'm not particularly a fan of down in Hobart. Then she's got Gold Coast, but then she's got Brisbane. So it's like very up and down next 3 for Ella Head. So if I want to trade her out, preferably be round 8, but I could do it this week. And if it was there, I could get like a Maddie Newman or something like that. But I'll have a look when lockout lifts. But that's what we are looking at doing. I think that's where we'll end it there tonight. But Jaiden, mate, thanks for jumping on once again. Where can the people find you across socials and the website?
Yeah, you can find the website statsbyjaiden.com.au, and you can go to the AFLW tab. There's a bunch of stuff there. I'll get that updated when I can. The fixtures stuff's already done, but the break-evens once lockout lists and stuff like that. But yeah, it'd be good to finish off these double rounds and have a bit more relaxing throughout the next few weeks.
Yep, exactly right. And that was the other frustrating thing about Goody not going big. I was hoping that she had more cash on her head, so it'd be a lot easier to go her up. But anyway, you can find me at Bails DT across the socials as well. You can find Mitch at Ball Boys Fantasy, and you can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans on Twitter as well. If you've got any AFLW Fantasy questions and you'd like to send them through over to Ask Me on Q, then head over to askmeonq, spelt QU.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Links at the very top of the description if you'd like to use that service there and ask your questions in. You send through your whole team and all that good stuff. So if you'd like to use that, then feel free. If you are tuning in on YouTube or watching the replay, then make sure you smash a big thumbs up on the video and subscribe to our channel. There, obviously, a few episodes to go, and then the season will be done. But make sure you subscribe because we will be back with men's fantasy content after the AFLW season is finished. And if you're listening back on the podcast as well, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. That would be very, very much appreciated there, and appreciate everyone that tuned in live and sent through their questions to be answered. So we will be back on Tuesday night, same time. It'll be 6 p.m. Eastern. Should be 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time because we're in daylight savings now, and that means that will be 3 p.m. per time because that's 3 hours difference. So, okay, good. I'm glad I got that right in the first go. So, yeah, so make sure you guys tune in there live to get your questions answered before the final double game week starts as well. So, yeah, beautiful. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we catch you guys in just under 48 hours. So, thanks, guys. We're out. See ya.